I was freaking out. To me, I thought everything was lost. I did everything that I was not supposed to do before I jump on that program. The begging, defending, you name it. I did it all. Way back when we used to argue, me sending like paragraphs of messages down to three, maybe four lines. Now it's different. She approached me. She feels safe approaching me, having a conversation. She opens up. She talked to me about personal things, things that I didn't know about before. We had a moment yesterday where she teared up. She busted out in tears because she realized that, oh my God, okay, this is different. He cares. He's there with me. I've been heard. I've been seen.
You just got to be coachable.
If you don't already know who I am, my name is Griffin, and I help men that have something to lose in a divorce or a separation to restore their marriage or their relationship, even when she has no interest in doing so. The admission price to share in today's success with one of my students is two things. Press the like button right now, please. But also for you, if you're a man in this situation where you're facing an unwanted divorce or separation and your wife or your girlfriend has no interest in saving or restoring the relationship, press the subscribe button and change the notification settings to all. You might very well be one video away from transformation and turning the ship around, heading to game over. Today I'm with Reggie, and Reggie is sharing his results in the DivorceStoppers program when he was facing an unwanted divorce forever and had a lot to lose. So what we're going to do is just kind of walk you through the journey of where Reggie was whenever he and I met. Anything that you want to share, Reggie, it's completely open. What that process was like for you inside, and also as you are making the changes yourself.
Let me say that when I first jumped on that journey, I was lost. First of all, like you usually say, I was on top of that mountain, and she was down there, like drinking the cool water, and I was freaking out. To me, I thought everything was lost. I did everything that I was not supposed to do before I even jump on that program. The begging, the defending, you name it. I did it all. And doing some research, I came across your YouTube, and it clicked. It clicked instantly. I've heard some of your, advices, some of the steps, and I was like, you know what? Let me give him a call. And so that was the first step of me trusting the program. So now let's kind of like fast forward a couple months back when, now where I am now, it was a real eye opener,
Okay, dig
where
deeper on that.
Was that?
Yeah, explore that. Dig deeper on that.
Yes. So, it's not more about, stopping the divorce. It's much more than that. In my own experience, it's a lot more than that, where I work on myself as being a better man.
Yeah.
Not just, for her, but also for me, for myself. And so, yeah.
Let me ask you a question, just for the sake of transparency for our audience that's watching this video. So you got to, considering that there's a lot of men that are going to be watching this video, that they're in what we call the zero state. They're having feelings of hopelessness. Their wife has said, I want a divorce, I want a separation. We could never be together as husband and wife. Or their long-term girlfriend, the mother of their children, is saying, you know what, I'm out. Maybe she's moved out. Maybe she's filed for a divorce. Maybe a legal divorce has already taken place, but she's not remarried. And the man feels like he is no longer in control of his life. He's lost 40 pounds in the last 6 weeks because he's going through feelings of hopelessness. His train is heading to destruction. He's about to lose. It's affecting his health. So he's losing his health. It's affecting his emotional well-being. Certainly, it's affecting his legacy, his family, his wife, his children, and it's affecting his finances. Maybe it's going to be devastating even financially. And so for that man out there whose wife is driving the train to destruction, and he doesn't even feel in control of his own destiny anymore about where he ends up in life because someone else literally has that steering wheel and he doesn't know how to take it back. That's what it's really difficult for us to believe. In order for me to have results that I want, right? That I've got to work so hard at it. I've got to crawl up the mountain. But when we start realizing No, we're already at the top of this mountain.
That's right.
And in order for me to see how to take back the life that I want, since birth, I was taught it's got to be hard. Anything worth having is you've got to fight for it. And, this is why I'm always saying that if you want to restore a relationship, working on the relationship is exactly what will never work, which is, for any of our viewers watching this video, put in the comments right now if you've tried marriage counseling and let me know how well that didn't work for you, because I've never, ever, ever seen that when one person wants out of the marriage and another person wants to restore the marriage. I have never seen a case in my career of doing this at over 11 years as of the date of this recording where marriage counseling has actually worked when one wants out and the other one wants to save it. Because the focus is on the problems, and focusing on the problem only gets you more problems.
More problem.
And so that is hard, right? I went through that myself, marriage counseling in my first marriage. And I would say for me, that was my version of living in hell on earth. So it wasn't easy. And so fast forward into a new marriage where my wife and I are running a marriage coaching business for couples that actually want to come together and restore their marriage. And ultimately, this program was born out of that when I found myself facing an unwanted divorce that my wife had filed against me. I didn't want the divorce, even though originally I was the one that asked for it. I really didn't want a divorce. I just wanted the relationship to become better. And so I was using the D word to try to prompt change in my spouse. And even though we knew successfully how to help couples navigate together when both people wanted the marriage on point. But now, we had never coached a man that was facing a divorce when the wife wanted a divorce, but the man did not. And the reason I say a man is not to be chauvinistic. It's the reason I say that is upwards to 90% of divorces are filed by men, up to upwards of 90 divorces are filed by women. So the men are statistically the ones that are placed in a situation where she wants the divorce and he doesn't, which is where this version of this program was born when I went through that myself and figured out how to take the action steps that were the opposite of hard and that were the opposite of what I thought I should do, that were the opposite of common sense, and started putting on my tie. Meaning, and for anybody that's listening, like, Denver, I don't see your tie. Why are you ready to talk about a tie? You're not wearing a tie. No, I am. I put it on every morning and I teach other men how to do the same thing. And that tie stands for this is easy, because you don't have to go up the grueling mountain like what you're saying, Reggie. I'm teaching you to walk down the mountain. And I went on my prayer walk yesterday, like I do every single day, 5 days a week. And yesterday I went on a new path. You've heard me talk about taking a new path a few months ago, because a few months ago I took a new path on my prayer walk I had never taken before. Okay, just so you'll know, right now I'm on a spiritual fast. And so I thought this new path would probably be about the same mileage, so to speak. And I don't necessarily have the same energy levels right now as I did last week because I haven't eaten in like 4 days. But I went on this new path. Let me tell you, it was hard. This new path, it really was hard. And I kept thinking, I'm telling myself, this is easy. But it was all uphill, this new path. And I thought it was going to loop me back around, and like a mile and a half, I would be back home. No, it was 5.5 extra miles. But I'm like, when I don't quit when I'm tired, I quit when I'm done.
There you go.
So I kept walking that path. But all right, so here is the $1 million question. Let's talk about your zero state, because right now a lot of men that are watching this video, they're in the zero state. They don't know what to do. She's driving the train, going to destruction. They don't even believe it's salvageable. Friends and family are saying, move on. If you really love her, let her go. This ain't going to work out. I've never seen something like this work. She has a boyfriend. She has a limited affair partner, emotional affair partner. She's living with another man. But if she's not married, there's always a reason to have hope, because it's not just enough. So you mentioned this. When you came into the program, you started acknowledging from the get-go that it was about you. But while that is true, What's different from this program, and tell me your opinion on this. What's different about this program intentionally? And I truly think, as far as I'm familiar with a lot of other programs out there, and the reason and the way that I am is 50% of your brothers in the Divorce Stoppers program came from other programs. So because of that, we hear what's not working in the other programs, because 50% of our students come from the other programs. What's radically different, and to my knowledge, we're the only program in the world with clients on actually 7 continents. Right now, we only have clients actively going through it on 6 continents. Somebody called me out on that a while back saying, you got students in Antarctica? Yes, I've had 2 students in Antarctica. Believe it or not, if you go to Antarctica to work, you can't build intimacy if you don't know how to communicate via text while you're gone, and it's possibly going to cause a divorce. So yes, I have had clients on seven continents. But part of this journey immediately, if you want a marriage restored when a wife has confirmation bias, you making all the changes yourself will make you feel good. But immediately from day one, if you'll remember in step 1.1 and 1.2 and the hidden step 1.3 and 1.4, those that need that, the first thing that we do is start the process of not only changing your heart, your eyes, your mind, your ears, the changes that we're teaching you to easily and practically not only make, but to implement, start immediately changing her. The goal is always the train that's heading toward divorce land to put the brakes on, put it in reverse, and start going back to restoration. And the goal is always to do that in 7 days. And the way that we accomplish that is by your changes and your leadership start the process of evolving change within her as well. So here's my question to help our viewers get clear. Where were you personally, emotionally, and mentally when you found my program? Men, if you're wondering if you can have the same successes in his marriage when his wife wanted out of the relationship and she had no interest in working on the relationship or the marriage, and it was affecting his soul, his spirit, his income, his occupation, and his very soul. If that's you and you want to turn your life around, turn your relationship around, and take everyone back to success, listen to me. In order for your relationship to change, when a wife or a long-term relationship girlfriend has confirmation bias, information is not enough. You need transformation. Right now, my video editor is putting up a QR code and the website called my free Marriage U-Turn Masterclass. I'm teaching that masterclass 5 times this week live, and there's no charge for registering for the masterclass. Pause the video right now, scan the QR code, or go to the website. The website is also going to be in the description of this YouTube video. Register for that free Marriage U-Turn Masterclass right now while there's seats available. Where were you personally, emotionally, and mentally when you found my program?
Oh man, frustrated, lost, hopeless. It was where I didn't know what to do anymore, and finding your program had to I had to slow down, and then go back to know how to communicate. That was the first step, know how to communicate, know how to listen, and also be happy, be that 50-pound of bottle of volume where you there. And
the 20-pound bottle of volume that can't be faced. So
hey,
Reggie, where were you at emotionally though the day that we met you? Like, were you in a state of depression, or had you already done something to help yourself get out of that? Like, where were you personally before you actually came into the Divorce Stopper program?
yes, I was lost. I was really, and I not only that I was lost, I was freaking out. I was it's like a dark room, I didn't know where to go, what to do, freaking out, driving home, anxiety kicking in. I was checklist of everything that you can think of, all the negative. And yeah, even financially, I didn't know what to do at this point.
Was your weight was your weight fluctuating? Like, was your health or your body or your career, was any of that being affected?
I went from 155 down to 147.
Wow, that's crazy. What how was it affecting like your career, your job performance?
I couldn't focus. To a point where they had to send me home one day. They had to send me home because I just couldn't. I couldn't focus. I couldn't be. I was not present.
That's a normal theme. I went through that personally myself. What was happening in your marriage at that time? Like, what was your wife saying or doing that made you feel like it was over for you to get in that state of hopelessness and confusion and anxiety?
Just gone. Communication was not going. It was I was getting beat down, hopeless. Like basically, I was told, yeah, there's no way this is going to work.
Did you feel like that you were losing her for good? Like
Oh yeah,
what did that feel like for you as a man to go
oh
through that?
yeah. As if like again, hopeless. It's like I saw the train just be gone, and I could not. There's nothing I could have done. Like I tried. When you're panicking and then you begging, you are trying to prove yourself. You're trying to do everything, but it's not working. So I was
Mhm.
at that stage.
Yeah,
It's like yeah,
probably not only was it not working, it most likely was making things worse, correct?
there you go.
So what had you already tried before finding me? Like, did you go through counseling, or you said you did the begging thing and that didn't work? Did you try doing counseling or giving her space, or maybe taking
Yeah.
some advice from friends or family? Like, explain that a little bit, what you did try that didn't work.
So I did the pastor, the family, the friends. I didn't join in another program. However, I've gone through YouTube. I've, tried to listen to other people say, tell me what to do from YouTube. I'm guessing those are other programs too.
Mhm.
But what was told, it was matter of fact, it backfired. Most of these things were not on my favor. And so,
Do you remember any advice, or do you remember who gave you some advice, or what was the advice of things that you tried, or do you remember some of those things that you did try that didn't work for you?
oh yeah. Yeah, the proving you gotta prove yourself. That was one of them. You gotta give space. That was another thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No
The
contact,
no
no
contact.
contact.
There you go. Yeah. So some of these things, no, that didn't work. Matter of fact, that got me deeper in the hole.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I'm talking about. That is the reason, step one, we took you on the journey to, yes, make changes for yourself, but also to make sure that as you're making the changes, you're immediately working to change her. When a wife has confirmation bias, you will never restore a marriage. You can make a marriage better by watching YouTube videos, but if a
Mhm.
wife has confirmation bias and she's checked out and she wants out, even if she's still in love with you, even if she's giving you mixed signals, if confirmation bias exists, you will never have a restored and a thriving marriage from watching YouTube videos, because YouTube,
Oh
as
yeah.
amazing as it is, YouTube is information. Right now, I'm trying to hook up a projector in the ceiling, and I'm going to YouTube to figure out how other people did that, because information can help me hook up my projector. But when a woman has confirmation bias, you're never going to do it from watching YouTube videos, because you'll run out of time before she moves into another relationship that's serious, most likely. There's a survey that's done, and actually there's like 6 of them that I'm aware of, that says that women that move into their next marriage and divorce their ex-husband, they, within less than 2 years, they regret that they moved forward into a new husband. And a high percentage of those women say they wish they were still married to their ex, because after the time has passed, it takes almost 2 years for them to start having feelings of loss. Because when she has confirmation bias and she's wanting to exit the relationship, there is no feeling of loss. She feels like you're the trash that she took to the curb, and she's happy that the city trash truck is on your street ready to pick you up. So if she has confirmation bias, you making these changes to become the better you will almost always cause her to resent you for your changes, because almost always when a woman has confirmation bias, she's dealing with her unhappiness of things that really have nothing to do with you. And her brain starts thinking, and a lot of that's due to outside influence, that the source of her unhappiness is you. And you unknowingly have caused her to think that by going and seeing that she's unhappy and trying to fix her. And she senses that you're unhappy about her unhappiness.
Yes,
And that's not always the way that it works. Sometimes you're unhappy because you have your own shit to deal with, but
that's true.
she still has her stuff to deal with outside of that, has nothing to do with you. Now, getting rid of you is not going to fix her stuff. So what I'm teaching you to do is, yes, you do need to make some changes that are very, very, very easy, but we don't want to leave her behind unhappy. We want to take her to Happyville with you. And that's what causes a thriving relationship. It's not enough to change yourself. You have to love her enough with your new leadership, lead her to make changes as well. And I use the word lead because before I met any of my students, they all tried to push their wives to change. And that didn't go over so well. One time my dad bought a donkey. You never heard me tell this story, okay? My dad bought a donkey from some of our neighbors that lived about 2 miles from our house. He thought it would be a life experience for me to lead this thing back to my house as a child. This donkey was a stubborn ass, literally, okay? It took me 12 hours to get that stubborn ass back to my house. So why am I sharing this story? Because that's what we do with our wives. Try to get her to come back home, but that thing ain't budging if you don't know how to lead it so that it will change. Same thing can happen when you have a paradigm shift and you understand how to do that. Okay, so let me ask you this. You've tried all these different things that friends and family were telling you. You went on YouTube, you found somebody saying do no contact, which I used to do no contact. Guess when I used to do no contact? When I was playing the field, when I was in college and I was 17 years old. I started college, I think, when I was 16 years old. And so as a teenager, if I was dating a girl and I came on too strong, and with my personality, I definitely did some of that back as a teenager, as an immature idiot. And I learned in college that when I came on too strong and she ghosted me, to do no contact if I had been dating her for 2 weeks. And it always worked. But in a long-term relationship with your girlfriend, when you guys have been together for 3, 5, 10 years, 20 years, and you have children, or if it's your wife and you guys have assets and mortgages and car payments and rental property and careers and children, you can never rebuild intimacy, and you 100% cannot dissolve confirmation bias by doing no contact. That is the most foolish advice that's given in the marriage industry that's out there. Man, if you're listening to this client success story and you're dealing with any of the things dealt with in his marriage, an obstinate spouse that did not feel like a woman within the marriage, that she felt like a girl, she didn't feel like she could breathe in the marriage, but no one saw a path to restoration. If you know that you need a transformation and you see some of the things that you've done wrong and you're doing everything that you can to change the story, but it's not enough, right now, do me a favor. Put in the comments what you're dealing with, what you've done to harm the marriage and what you've done to try to save the marriage, and put in the comments what's working for you and what's not working and where you need help. I will respond to every single comment that you post in the comments, and I'll even do a YouTube video to help you have success in those areas to get you back on track. That is the most foolish advice that's given in the marriage industry that's out there. Now, it will create curiosity for a week, but after that, I just did a client success share with another student about an hour ago, and he was talking about in his experience that his wife literally just she didn't care anymore. Before he was a student, she didn't care where he went, what time he came home, no questions, zero curiosity, because he didn't know what to do to change her. And so he said that was immediate change for him in the program. But I want to ask you this. When you started watching my YouTube videos, and then maybe even on the inside or both, were there any times where I gave practical steps and advice, information, and within the program, the ability to have a transformation, where I told you to do something, or you even saw me with other students telling them to do something? And the great thing about my program is when I coach any student to go do something, I always say, now go post the results of this. And if I'm wrong, post it. Prove me wrong. And the reason I say that is because more often than not, the practical steps that I'm giving you is the opposite of what you think is going to work. And more often than not, you think it's going to make it worse. So here's my question. Were there any points either watching me on YouTube before you came in as a student or even as a student where you were skeptical when you came into the fold?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because naturally, my brain will tell me, "Man, don't do it." You see what I mean? Don't do it. And I'm here when you tell me like, "Nah, this is what you have to do," and I know you. You actually let me know that your brain will fight you, and so that's what gave me a little bit more confidence at the boost of okay. You know what? I'll do it. And sure enough, the way you say things would happen. And that's when I started really, really, truly believing in the program, because it's like open book. You see what I mean? You hand us the book. There it is. This is what's going to work. This is what's not going to work. And there you go. Yes. Like you said, you're on top of the mountain. You think it's really hard. Your brain is telling you, no, it's hard. Don't do this. But you got to trust the process, trust the process, trust the program.
Well, Yeah, and I love that you're saying trust the program. And I think one of the reasons that you say that is on everybody's first day in the program, I always say this: never trust Denver. Don't trust me. But part of the program, starting your first day, is that you have access to not only see all the other students, you have access to see the results. And the program is confidential. Like if you're not in the program, you can't see anything. But if you're part of the fold, where we have the support group of Iron Sharpens Iron, what did it do for you day one to not only have access to the coaches, to me, to be able to book a personal one-on-one with me and or the other coaches, also to have access to the material where I'm not only teaching you, but I'm giving you examples and then practical ways to implement it. But what was it like for you with the support group that we call Iron Sharpens Iron, where your fellow brothers that are in the confidential part of the program, that not only could you see them, collaborate with them, and speak to them, but you could actually look at their results where they were when they started and then where they were each step of their journey. What did that do for your subconscious in the way of giving you the courage, the motivation, the hope, and the belief system that if Denver coaches me to do something that I think is going to make things worse, and I see that they've all been through the same journey and it worked, what did that do to help give you the courage to keep going forward?
Yeah, definitely. It felt like I was no longer alone. I'm not the only one. That's one. I have a community of brothers there for me where I could see. Like I remember the first thing you said, our first call, when you said that, I can show you Santa. I remember
Show you
we had that.
Santa. Show you Santa Claus. Okay, so explain that.
Yeah. So, you're like, I'll pull the curtain and show you that, Santa's real. And I remember that conversation very clearly. And then when I joined the program, sure enough, I've seen people success, their wins, their success, the change. People who joined the program and then 6 months later, a year later, posting their pictures with their wives.
Yeah.
So I've seen that, and it gives me purpose, it gives me courage, it gives me hope. And then like you said, there are certain things that I was doubting, and I told my brain, okay, you know what? Stop, quiet. We need to do this.
And do you feel like the program give you the practical steps in how to tell your brain to do that? Because a lot of people struggle with that.
Oh yeah, definitely. But here's the thing. When I first joined, again, with all the hopelessness, all that, the frustration that I was going through, depression and everything, I really had to slow down, like you said, because all of these steps, if you burn through them, it's not going to work. It's not. You got to make sure every step lands. And
slow down. If you want to speed things up, you got to slow down, right?
Slow down. There you go. When I first joined, one of the things that I kind of struggled with was detach myself from expectation.
Stop being married to outcomes, right?
There you go. And so I had to really, at some point, when I thought I was in a certain step, I was not there yet. I had to go back because even you had a talk. We had a coach one night, and you told me, "Why are you there? Okay, tell me how you got there to this step." And sure enough, I realized that I was burning through it. I had to really slow down. And when I did that, it really showed me the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you're acknowledging that for you, it seemed like the coaching calls were worth their weight in gold as well, especially because you showed up and you actively pursued getting support when you got stuck or when you needed it, trying to figure out, what is it that I need to change? Like, why am I stuck? I don't see that. And we have a plan of action to make sure that you don't get stuck in the event that does happen. Let me ask you, where or was there a specific moment inside the program when things kind of just clicked for you? Men, if you're wondering if you can have the same successes in his marriage when his wife wanted out of the relationship and she had no interest in working on the relationship or the marriage, and it was affecting his soul, his spirit, his income, his occupation, and his very soul. If that's you and you want to turn your life around, turn your relationship around, and take everyone back to success, listen to me. In order for your relationship to change, when a wife or a long-term relationship girlfriend has confirmation bias, information is not enough. You need transformation. Right now, my video editor is putting up a QR code and the website called my free Marriage U-Turn Masterclass. I'm teaching that masterclass 5 times this week live, and there's no charge for registering for the masterclass. pause the video right now, scan the QR code, or go to the website. The website is also going to be in the description of this YouTube video. Register for that free Marriage U-Turn Masterclass right now while there's seats available. Was there a specific moment inside the program when things kind of just clicked for you?
Oh yeah, it's the let go of the pride. That's when where. How can I explain that? It goes back to like the slow down moment where I was so attached to outcome that I wanted to burn through all these steps to get what I wanted. I had to really let go of that. Because once you're married to that, it will backfire. You may see some result, but eventually it will backfire. A specific moment, I would say it's when, in my head, I thought my wife, we went on a date and everything went well. To me, I was like, okay, we're good. Everything was restored. We're done. No, that was not it. That was not it. And I learned that the hard way. And that's when I realized that, okay, you know what? Let me take my time and really slow down, make sure every step lands before moving to the next one.
Yeah. And then that's probably when you got on another coaching call to figure out what happened in that moment when I thought we're at the finish line. But no, the program is a 7-week transformation for a reason and a purpose. And there's 14 steps that we take you on. Some of those steps have more than one teaching module, but there's 14 psychological, emotional, spiritual steps that we take you on in order for it to all come together beautifully at the end, where not only is your marriage restored, but your life has changed. And so is everybody around you that you care enough about to invest your time with and that you love. So let me ask you this.
And here's another thing too, back to that point, when in my head, when I thought that the marriage was restored and everything, the way it backfired is so funny because my wife told me straight ahead, like straight up, yeah, I knew it. I knew you didn't change. You didn't change for real. And that's when I was like, oh man, okay, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why I say, as we're restoring the marriage, let's don't stop until you're completed the program to make sure that not only in your mind is the marriage restored, but that in both minds that the marriage is restored, because there's a psychological journey that, you already had a transformation, but it takes that full journey of what I'm teaching in the entire 7 weeks to fully transform and change her mind. And that takes a little bit longer than maybe, because your mind already is in the marriage. When I meet you, we got to walk through the 7-week process to get her to engage in it. Even when it looks like she's fully there, she's not going to be fully there. Confirmation bias is not going to be fully dissolved until you actually cater to what science has proven. How long does it take to dissolve confirmation bias completely to the point that it biologically changes her brain through new leadership of psychologically building intimacy through communication, which we start the process of teaching that the first day. Let me ask you this. Can you describe a moment when your wife started responding differently to you, even if it was something subtle at first?
Oh yeah. Communication, the communication was different. When we first, at the beginning of the program, communication was not flowing. It was not, now with the, method that you applied in the program where you use the emojis, she started picking up on that too. Send me a message back with emojis, cracking a few jokes. There was fun involved in the communication. So yeah, it was different versus when this whole thing happened and, it either no response or sarcasm, or it was very different. Day and night. It was very, very different.
All right. So let's dig a little bit deeper on that. So how did your leadership shift inside the marriage, and what were you doing differently that started making her feel safe again? So you mentioned emojis. What else?
One of the things that I did was purposely not addressing everything in the conversation. So not only that, but also I was looking at way back when we used to argue, me sending like paragraphs of messages down to 3, maybe 4 lines of message addressing what needs to be addressed. Not only that, but also creating curiosity. Okay, why didn't he talk about this? So now she's coming back to me and asking more questions and then open more doors for conversation.
Well, you're leading her and you're not attacking her with multiple paragraphs, because we're teaching you how to communicate in the masculine, to not just communicate in the masculine. It's not enough just to be positive, polite, and playful, which I'm an advocate. Positive, polite, and playful. Positive, polite, and playful. I am happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. All of that works. But if you really want to restore a marriage, you got to dig deeper than just doing positive, polite, and playful. It also needs to make her feel heard, valued, and seen. And it can't be over communication in a way that puts pressure on her, even if she thinks she wants the over communication. Over communication makes a woman feel emotionally unsafe, and it will cause her to pivot into the masculine, because over communication is feminine in nature itself. Let me ask you this.
Not only that, but also sometimes doing that will push her away. Again, going back to pushing, that will push her away.
Yeah, 100%. Because what you're doing is you're telling her subconscious that this guy I don't feel safe. When I have a lot on my chest, he is no longer the pressure relief valve where I can go to let off steam. That over communication is literally the pressure cooker that's putting pressure on her. And whenever you apply pressure to something, it's going to find a relief valve. It's going to find an outlet. And so this is what leads to emotional affairs, or her recruiting enemies of the marriage, because she's going to other places to let off steam because you're the one putting the pressure. So what we do immediately is understand how to build communication to immediately position you to become the pressure relief valve. Now, all of a sudden, she starts feeling emotionally safe to be vulnerable, to come throw up and to let off steam with you. And in the beginning, that steam is most likely going to be negative, expressing her negative feelings. But what's beautiful about a woman that feels safe enough to express negative feelings with a man is, if that man is one of my students, he knows how to use all of that negative stuff that in marriage counseling would guarantee that you get a divorce forever. And so all of that negative stuff, what we do is I'm teaching you how to use that, make her feel like you really hear her, you really get her, you really see her, and you respond in a way that builds intimacy and bonds you guys. Like, how can an argument bond you? But we immediately start teaching that. And we position what would normally have been an argument with you explaining yourself or trying to fix her, to build intimacy, to connect the two of you. And that's not just for you, that's also for her. And then the family unit as well. Let me ask you this. What is your marriage like today compared to when you started the program?
Very different. I believe I posted a picture yesterday in the group. She's smiling again. She's smiling. She's cracking jokes. We go out. We eat together now on, family table. Last week, she cooked one of my favorite meal. Even yesterday, something happened yesterday. I haven't shared that in the group yet, but we had a moment yesterday where she teared up. She busted out in tears because she realized that, oh my God, okay, this is different. He cares. He's there with me. I've been heard. I've been seen.
Well, Reggie, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like I personally have witnessed your transformation, but it almost sounds like your changes have changed your wife.
Yes, sir.
And from the smile that I'm seeing in our Iron Sharpens Iron community, it looks like those are real and fun.
Oh yeah, that's what was missing. Again, it's when your wife feels heard and understood and seen, that's a whole different scenario. That's a whole different story. Safety, emotion. She's there. She knows that, okay, I feel safe again. I can talk to him. I can be open again. And that's what most of the time, that's what she needs. That's what they want.
100%. I think it's what everybody actually deserves. And what's beautiful about that is so many people watching this video right now, they're like, all of this makes sense. But here's the question. How do you actually accomplish that goal? And this is where YouTube is not going to show up if you're in that place. This is where you're going to have a transformation, and it requires something that goes in order, step by step, to walk you through the process to make sure that you're not just feeling good about yourself, but that you're leading her to change herself as well. So speaking of
you can't fake it. Here's another thing. You can't fake it either. No, you can't fake it.
Yeah,
you gotta be all in.
Everything in DivorceStoppers, would you agree that it is 100% like it is real? And if anybody tries to fake it, that is going to backfire.
Backfire.
100%. So looking at where the marriage was and looking at where it is now, and then seeing those pictures that you're posting of your wife and the genuine change, that your leadership has encouraged and helped her to lead her to the best version of herself as well. How does your wife treat you today compared to the way that she treated you when there was confirmation bias?
Oh man, the difference is it's huge. So I'll try to explain that to different scenario. Before she had no patience to talk, to have a conversation. Now it's more about, yes, we will have a conversation about things. We discuss things. We plan together. It's where it's like a union, we're understanding each other. Before, it was a lot of frustration, it was a lot of misunderstanding. You don't get me, you don't hear me. It was both of us were on two different page. Now it's different. Now it's she approached me, she feels safe approaching me, having a conversation. She opens up, she talked to me about personal things that I didn't know about before. So like I think I mentioned that it's a lot deeper than what it was before.
Would you say the things that used to frustrate you about your relationship and about your wife, now that you've been given new eyes, that those things that used to be frustrating for you and maybe even cause division, that they're now beautiful because you see them with a different perspective?
Different perspective. Totally different perspective. The person that I am now, even before we got on the call, you said, thank you for your patience. And I'm like, wow, that's okay. People have been telling me I've been really patient lately. So that's another thing too. I learned to cultivate being more patient, I don't explode anymore. I don't, no, it's okay. I'm cool. I'm that cool guy.
Yeah, I almost like to say this is one of the reasons why I talk about if you want to restore a marriage, there's all these different areas that you can increase in your attractiveness, which would be your spiritual attractiveness, your spiritual, your physical, your intellectual, your character, and your emotional attractiveness. These are all of the areas that are the pillars of self that can be changed and transformed within, which lead people around you in your circle to also change. And I love that you're bringing up that you learn to become more patient, because that's literally one of the fruits of the Spirit. Talking about how your wife is, I see the smile on her face, like I've seen your post. Like you didn't even have to add what was going on there. We knew from looking at that was real, it was authentic, it was genuine, and it was leadership. You know what I'm saying? That was masculine leadership that encouraged her to go to that place, which is, this is why I hate the statement, if you love her, let her go. Why would you do that when you can lead her to a place that gives her the best life within the best option once you choose to change and become that option? But let me ask you a question. If I were to ask your wife right now, what would your wife say if I were to say, what are the changes that you've seen in your husband in the past several weeks? What would her answer be?
Man, new version, new man. She'll probably say, I heard she said that once. The patience was one of them. Also, understanding. I understand her more. So I would say I would go with that. He understands me.
I love that, because the word understanding in itself wraps up, he sees me, he hears me, he feels me, which if you tie all of those together and you put them in a bowl and you blend them up, that means I feel valued and I feel wanted.
Yep.
Which always leads to love.
I heard her say one time too, oh, he finally gets it.
Would you say, where was the way you felt inside on a respect level, saying my wife respects me? When I met you, if we said 0 to 100, where was that scale? And then today, 0 to 100, where's the scale?
Man, when we first met me, I was at that corner. I was by the corner. I don't want to say trash, but I know you usually say that you were that pile of, thing on that corner. I was, yeah.
Yeah, you were the trash you were the trash that's rolled to the curb.
Exactly.
In your example, maybe you weren't rolled to the curb, but you were halfway out to the street. She was still deciding.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. But now we're back as a family. We're one. We go out together as a family. A matter of fact, to my surprise, about a month ago, she already booked hotel to Portugal for winter.
Oh my gosh, how beautiful is that?
So that's months away.
So it's clear to say, it sounds like she sees a future with you if she's booking months and months and months in advance, an expensive trip to Portugal.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm in the future. She sees me in the future. So yes, but that does not mean that, okay, everything is restored, I'm done. No, that I want people to understand that yes, that program, once you're in it, you have access for life.
Yeah,
You have access
100%.
for life.
Because
So take advantage of it.
yeah, we don't want to just restore the marriage. We want to make sure that you have the skills that you need to stay in a thriving relationship forever. So I'm excited about your Portugal trip. I hope you share the pictures from that. Portugal is a
Yeah.
really beautiful place to like go soulmate connection over there. If you go over there, I know my wife and I went over there a couple of years and rented a car and just literally drove every inch of Portugal. And I would say probably it's one of the most romantic connectivity trips that we've ever had in our lives. So I love hearing that that's your wife has booked that. Like, you know, she's looking for romance on that trip. It's not just necessarily sightseeing because you can't even look at the
Yeah.
brochures about Portugal. They're selling connection in Portugal. That's part of the marketing of that country. Let me ask you this. There are other men watching this video right now. They are in a state of depression. Their wife might be having a limerent affair partner, emotional, physical affair partner. She has filed for divorce. They've already got a legal divorce. It looks absolutely hopeless. That man right now is watching this video. Assuming that that man is watching this video and his wife just said, I want a divorce. What would you tell that guy to do? Because right now he's just watching YouTube video after YouTube video after YouTube video. What should that guy do if he's in that place and he feels hopeless and he's tried some stuff from YouTube, but might have worked for a second, but it's not helping him restore the marriage because his wife probably has confirmation bias? You have the floor right now and you're speaking to thousands of men. What would you tell that same men 1,000 times over?
First of all, don't lose hope. There's hope. I was hopeless as well. And look at where I am now. She sees a future where I'm in that picture. So don't lose hope. If you're part of the program, trust the program, get into the coaching. The coaching, it will really help. You have Denver, you have Marcel, you have all the brothers there for you. It's a whole community. You're not alone in this. That's one. Two, if you were proposed like a divorce or people, it's still not the end of it. That's not it. Don't believe just because she's down there and then you up the mountain and everything is done, it's over. It's not. There is still hope. There is work to do. It's an easy work. Don't believe that it's hard. If you need support, the support is there for you as well. If you're being handed a paper, divorce or not, whatever the situation might be, everybody has a different scenario, different things that they're dealing with, different scenario, different approach. So don't think you're alone in this. I would even take myself as an example. I was in that same pair too that you are right now. I was hopeless. I went from 156 down to 148. I was depressed. I know it is a very hard situation to take care of, and you don't know what step to take first. But what I would say is trust the program. You have Denver, you have Marcel, you have a whole communities of brothers. They share their wins. You can see it's not just a program just out there, like any other program telling you to do things. We see the result, we see the wins. I would say trust the program, trust the process, take your time, don't burn through it. Really take your time, make sure that everything lands before you move to the second one. But not only that, also to me personally, it showed me how to really be a leader, so take that. The program is there for you. You have access to it until whenever, so take advantage of it. Not only that, but also once you become a real leader, everything will fall into place. Everything will follow. So do it. Don't feel like you're alone. Don't lose hope. There is hope. There is success. There is result.
Yeah, 100%. And the goal, just so everybody's clear, our number one goal in this program is while the leadership, if I were to really call this program what it is, it's a men's 1% of 1% masculine leadership
Leadership.
program that not only causes you to level up, but it leads the people that you love to take them to their best life ever. And so the
Yeah.
actual number one goal of this program is to restore the marriage. But what I just described is the path that we take you on to do that. Let me ask you
Mhm.
this, Reggie. What would have happened if you hadn't have joined the program?
I'm thinking of every worst case scenario possible. Could have been divorce, loss. I probably would have lost I know for sure my 8 years old son would have hated me. We would have lost our asset. Everything that you can imagine. I know this is what would happen. And I know for sure that, my wife being, living in the Europe prior to the state, I'm probably sure she would take my son with her too.
Yeah. And you had already acknowledged that it was affecting your health, your
Oh yeah.
ability to function, to
Yeah.
concentrate, your weight was
I would
fluctuating.
probably lose my work too because again, twice they sent me home because I could not focus. I was not present.
Yeah. So
So
you would have,
every
the cost that you would have paid that a lot of people watching this, they don't realize how serious their situation is. And a
Mhm.
lot of times they don't realize the cost that they're facing,
Oh
that
yeah,
they're facing the possibility of losing their family, their
your
health,
job.
and
Mhm.
their wealth, like
Mhm.
everything that a man and most men find their identity in, that you really, really value and care about.
That's right.
So what do you think is the reason that most men fail to turn their marriage around, even if they wanted to?
I don't want to blame society, but what I would say is, the things that we do most of the time, it feels like we are in a war with our wives. Like we're trying to pull them where that's not what's working.
And I would
We're
say it's okay to blame society a little bit. The society on earth, I'm a world traveler. My wife and I hit the whole world frequently. And I can tell you that the culture in the world, like the entire earth, it is not pro marriage, and it is definitely not pro a man becoming a 1% of a 1%
1%. There you go.
masculine leader to lead and embrace and to blossom femininity in a way that empowers a woman to
Yeah.
walk into her calling. I can tell you this, I believe with all my heart, if your wife has an anointing on her to lead a for-profit, a nonprofit, an organization, whatever, if her anointing and her calling is to be the CEO,
Mhm.
leading thousands or tens of thousands of entrepreneurs, or maybe even that's in a spiritual awakening or something like that, would you believe that a woman that might be miserable today in her marriage, if her husband is one of my students, that she is way more likely to walk into that role and her calling? And a lot of times in a high power position, that it requires her to pivot into the masculine to be successful in that role. But a woman is so much more likely to be successful in that role if, when she comes home within the marriage, she feels safe enough to be
Oh yeah.
vulnerable in communication with her husband in the feminine. Because
Oh yeah.
women in a marriage want the husband to understand how to walk into the correct masculinity and allow them to be safe in their feminine within their
Mhm.
relationship. Would you agree with that?
Oh
So that
yeah.
was two questions. Would you agree that this actually is something that will help a woman be empowered to go into her calling? And that
Oh
could be
yeah.
something like that beyond her dreams, that she would be less likely to ever achieve those goals herself as a wife if her husband wasn't one of my students.
Oh, 100%. And to your point, like it's a two-way street because once you help your wife blossom and then she goes into her calling, also it helps you also. It pushes you to achieve even more because the more you lead, the better, the more she blossom. So
Yeah.
100%, yeah. It's
Two-way
a full
street of
circle,
support both ways. It comes full circle, right? So
definitely.
what would you say, why is this program different from therapy or coaching or all of the other advice that's out there that's teaching men, take your life back? How is this different from counseling or coaching or the other advice that's out there on YouTube?
I'll just say it the way it is. It will not work only because even if it worked for a little while, it will backfire at some point because you don't really change. Like the change doesn't really happen, for real, for real, if I can put it that way. This
Hmm.
program really helped you change and become a real leader. And again, to what we were discussing before, once you become that leader, your wife blossom full circle, and then it works
And then she changes with you. You both change at the same time.
at the same
And you
time.
don't even need. So, has your wife ever logged on to one of the courses? I mean, she's
Not
changed, she's
yet.
had a transformation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's never
Hopefully
logged
one
on to the
day
course.
she get in there. But
Yeah,
again,
well,
it's
I
the
don't
it's the
work with
lead.
women, but I do help women by teaching the men how to level up and actually help their wife and encourage them to
Yeah,
change. All right,
yeah.
so you've got the floor. Right now, you are speaking to hundreds and thousands of men who are brokenhearted and they believe that they're going to get a divorce and that they're never going to be with their wife again. What's the one piece of advice that we haven't already covered that you would give that guy as far as what should he do today that's been different than what he's been doing for the past 6 months?
You have not being in this program. you have a lot more to lose so than joining. Yes, you may hear your friends, family, your YouTube pastor, they might help you in some ways, but this program really, it's truly what gives you what you really need to be a leader. So yeah, I would say you have a lot more to lose not joining. I'll put it that way, straight up.
I'm going to second that. For any of you that just listened to what Reggie is describing, I would describe that as he's kind of pointing out the loss or the cost that you're facing. For a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
you that might be watching this video right now, you might very well at this very moment, be at a crossroads where you have the decision and the choice where you can keep going on the direction that you're on, and you're going to keep getting more of the same result. If you're delusional, thinking that one day or tomorrow you're going to wake up and things are just going to magically fix themselves, you know better than that. And your subconscious has been lying to you because it's a protection mechanism for your sanity to
Mm-hmm.
give you a false reason to keep having hope. But if your marriage is heading toward divorce, your life is heading toward devastation, and you don't do something radically different, you're going to end up exactly where you don't want to end up.
Oh
As
yeah.
of this moment, this is probably for a lot of you watching this video right now, you're at a crossroads. Right now, we've just given you on this particular video the opportunity to turn left and to make a different choice, to go a different path. Here's the fact for all of you watching this video, either way, moving forward into tomorrow, next week, next month, and next year, 100% of you, you're all going to pay a price. You're going to pay a price of your time, and you're going to pay a price in your finances. If you're heading to divorce, for a lot of you, the financial price could be devastating, but it's certainly going to be very, very, very expensive. You got to
Yeah.
split your assets. For a lot of you, you're saying, well, I don't care about that. When there's a divorce that takes place and there's asset division, and the woman walks away with half of the assets and child support, every dollar she walks away with is an enemy of the marriage because it empowers and enables her to continue on the path that may not be in her best interest. It may not be in your best interest. It may not be in the children's best interest. Reggie just talked about he knows for a fact that his son would hate him. That's not
Oh
in
yeah.
anybody's best interest. It's not in the son's best interest. But right now, you have an opportunity to make a different choice, to radically do something different that has been proven again and again and again that works. Turn left, and instead of paying the price where there's no return, divorce is a price, an expensive price that you pay, especially when you have children. You pay the price of divorce for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in my second marriage, and I'm still paying the price today of a divorce that happened over a decade ago. My children are still paying the price of my divorce from their mother. That is why second marriages have a 30% survival rate. Third marriages have a 10% survival rate because it's an expensive price that you never stop paying. Today, you're at a crossroads. You're going this way, and the price is going to be very expensive emotionally. It's going to be very expensive spiritually, and it's going to be very expensive financially. If that's you, we're giving you an opportunity to turn left, go a different way. The other way is also going to be a price that you'll pay. You're going to have to pay the price of investing in your time, and you're going to have to pay the price of investing in the result of getting what you want, even in your finances. I run a high ticket coaching program called Divorce Stoppers. That program requires a financial investment and an investment of your time. But what's different about from what Reggie is saying is in the Divorce Stoppers program, we're showing you practical steps so that the initial investment that you make is not an expense at all. We are going to give you a return on your investment far greater than what you're investing in your time or your finances. And almost always, and I think maybe from my understanding, even the financial investment comes back to you tenfold because it changes your leadership in the way that you think. And now you can not only see opportunities that you were missing with your wife and building intimacy in your marriage, but also with your children, but also in
Mm-hmm.
your next career moves and where that's going to take you. So, Reggie, I appreciate you coming on and sharing this vulnerable story and the experience of not only what you went through, but how the leadership transformation took place in your wife, but even from what you're acknowledging in your son. You
Yeah.
want to you want to share a little bit more about what happened with your son. From what you said, like you were on a path where you were about to have an emotional divorce from your son. What changed in that relationship? And then I'll let you go.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's super smart. Smart, 8 years old. He sees things. So you don't have to say much. He sees and feels things. So
Yeah, they
on
all
top
do.
of that, oh yeah. So on top of that, he was asking questions, and he could see that mom was not happy. He could see dad was not himself. So that was one. Now, on top of that, the disconnect, the tension, the energy in the house was not a good fit for him. Today, comparing to before, we're bounding, we're playing video games, we going on vacation. He's asking yesterday, he's like, Dad, can I tell you something? I'm like, of course, son, you can tell me anything. So he feels safe again, which is something that, when I was going through depression, I was crying because I could see that, I was losing my son. And that's
Yeah.
not something I wanted. That's not what I wanted. He could see that, oh, mom is hurt because dad made her sad. You see what I mean? So this is not something I wanted to. This is not the picture I wanted for him to remember, mostly at this age.
Yeah.
So now, yeah, we're bonding again. We're cracking jokes. We were playing video games together. We were going on vacation together. This is the picture that I want now.
That's absolutely beautiful. What you're describing is that at your zero state with your son, he had confirmation bias against
Oh
your
yeah.
marriage and was
Oh
becoming
yeah.
an enemy of the marriage.
Oh
I'm not saying
yes.
like children are
100%.
bad, but children 100% can become enemies of the marriage, which
Mhm.
it can exaggerate a man thinking there's no hope. How do I overcome that? But there's a way
And
to
guess what?
overcome.
On top of that, also, not only your wife already have confirmation bias, but also she's witnessing your son or my son, suffering through because of all of that. Now that's more confirmation bias. Like,
Confirming.
yep, there you
Yeah.
go. So
And that's
again,
full
once
circle
doing
as
that,
well.
exactly. I was just about to say that
Well,
also full circle.
the beautiful thing is we always know that that's usually going to be typical in most of all students that we have, and we have a plan to address all of that as you
Hmm.
go on the journey, so
Oh
that
yes.
as you're restoring it, all of that's restored at the same time, full circle. How beautiful is that? And I think
Yep.
one of the things that's even more beautiful about it, especially, I love it when we have new students that have children, and here's why: it is not normal for any marriage anymore to teach children how to thrive in a marriage. And so what you're doing now is you're teaching your son the right way. This is a man's correct masculine role in
Yes.
marriage. And let me show you how to make your future wife blossom as a woman and lead her
Hmm.
to be everything that she's supposed to be as well. And when you have two people walking in their
A
calling and
hundred
feeling
percent.
safe and becoming everything that they're on this earth to be, that is a freaking powerhouse.
100%. You're not just leading your wives, but also your children.
Legacy. Because what you're
Legacy.
teaching your son, he'll teach his son, he'll teach his daughter, and that's going to be passed on for generations. Isn't that just a
Mhm.
beautiful thing?
Definitely. Definitely.
All right, Reggie. Well, listen, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I fully am a huge advocate, as you know, in the law of reciprocity, 100% for you serving other brothers and future brothers within the capacity of helping other people go where you have already taken your marriage and where you continue to want to take it even to the next level. I absolutely believe when you serve other people and you help somebody else get where they want to be in that same area of your life, I really believe that God has designed this universe to respond to that, to even give you an extra to help you along your journey of taking this where it's supposed to go for you. So I am very excited to see what you, your son, and your wife's future holds. And I hope that you continue to post those successes in Iron Sharpens Iron, because it's encouraging not only to the other students, but also to the coaches. And also to me and my wife, when we read that stuff, we're like, wow, wow.
Well,
Like
thank
it's,
you.
it's,
Thank you too, because again, I don't think I'll be where I am today without this program. So thank you.
well, it's truly, truly from the bottom of my heart, my pleasure. Men, if you're wondering if you can have the same successes in his marriage when his wife wanted out of the relationship and she had no interest in working on the relationship or the marriage, and it was affecting his soul, his spirit, his income, his occupation, and his very soul. If that's you and you want to turn your life around, turn your relationship around, and take everyone back to success, Listen to me. In order for your relationship to change, when a wife or a long-term relationship girlfriend has confirmation bias, information is not enough. You need transformation. Right now, my video editor is putting up a QR code and the website called my free Marriage U-Turn Masterclass. I'm teaching that masterclass 5 times this week live, and there's no charge for registering for the masterclass. Pause the video right now, scan the QR code, or go to the website. The website is also going to be in the description of this YouTube video. Register for that free Marriage U-Turn Masterclass right now while there's seats available. And if you haven't already done so, please, 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 for yourself, press the like button on the video, which tells the algorithm to serve more content like this to you, because YouTube is suppressing my content. And also press the subscribe button and change the bell notification settings to all so you don't miss any of the comment or the free training that I'm putting out. Also, in addition to that, there's another resource. If you know that your train is heading to divorce land, game over, separation forever, and that you think there's a possibility that she's going to end up with another man, right now my video editor is putting on the screen the next video that you need for this exact moment in time.